But my next guest, Chloe Bailey. You're very familiar with her. But if not, from the dynamic duo, Chloe and Halle, but she is on her own right now. You know the single, Have Mercy. To me, she represents so much of this intersectionality that I had to experience in the negative. And so I think this conversation may be more therapeutic for me than it is promotion for her, for our single. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Chloe. What is happening, Chloe?
I am doing great. I am grateful and blessed and happy to be here and alive and well and healthy.
So I was saying, Chloe, I had a chance to get to know you years ago. Well, get introduced to you years ago with you and your sister. I was at the Essence Festival.
Yes.
And I just remember walking by, you got guys that just got introduced to the world. And I remember walking by the booth and you and her were playing, I believe, a violin. And I just remember seeing you guys. Was it the violin? Did you guys play violins, or you were playing?
It probably was the guitar.
Yes, guitar. It was a guitar. Yeah, it was a guitar. Yes, it was a guitar. And I remember seeing you guys, and I stopped myself, and I was like, "Huh, those two sisters really have something." And I said, I think they're going to be something one day. And to see the evolution of you guys, it has been an amazing ride. And what I love about you all is that you have been on this theme of like, it's a marathon and not a sprint. You know, can you talk to me about the progress and the path that you chose to take along with your sister to get to the journey where you are right now?
Oh, wow. Well, the journey has had a lot of bumps and a lot of smooth rides all throughout. You know, it's crazy because I just thought about this yesterday. I've been doing this since I was 4 years old and I'm now 23. Wow. And it's really, I am more than grateful to be able to live out my dreams and have that as my job and my career. Because there are so many people out there who are great at what they do, who are great singers, who are great with math and science, and they are never given the opportunity to showcase that skill. So to be able to be here right now, it's a blessing.
Can you talk to me about some of the choices that, I'm just curious, that you and your sister had to think about choices and strategy? Because you guys could have went the expedient route, right? And did the quick, fast singles. Yeah, like the quick, fast singles, you know what I mean? Like the catchy verses, the catchy choruses, the fancy dance numbers, like a lot of people do, they end up burning out. But I feel like you guys chose to focus on the talent first. Like, was that like intentional discussions that you and her had regarding that?
The main thing that was intentional for us and still is to just be ourselves and to be authentic. And we are huge music lovers and we always want to perfect our craft. And, you know, I think that just happened to follow everything you're saying. You know, we just want to be the best versions of ourselves. And even now, like, I'm learning that I love my tone on pop records and I love still left of center sounds and experimenting. And it's like merging those two worlds and seeing what and how it sounds best together. And I'm growing and evolving. So I never like to stay the same ever. And I think as long as my sister and I stay authentic and true to ourselves, it's not really a thing where we're strategically trying to think or plan on how can we be more real, you know, we just be.
I'm curious, like, how did that come about? Because you're talking about authenticity, right? You just mentioned you've been doing this since the age of 4, you're 23 years old. I'm slightly north of 23, just slightly. But even some of my friends who are slightly north of 23 still find trouble of being their authentic self because society tells us so different, right? Yeah. Society tells us to be this and to be that, and to try this and try that. How did you and your sister develop such a strong constitution at such an early age to make those very thoughtful decisions like that? I'm curious.
It's very easy. It's so much easier said than done. And even now, I'm having such a difficult time. Sometimes, some days it's more easier than others because what you mentioned, when you hear the outside opinions of others, and even though you are doing your very best to own up to who you are completely, there's a lot of people who still have a lot of things to say about it. So then it starts when you're looking in the mirror and it's like, is who I am right? Like, is there something wrong with me? Why don't certain people accept me? So of course, you know, I haven't mastered it, but I will say I'm learning that my voice matters, and I have to believe in myself before anyone else will, because they won't. And no one will fight for you unless you fight for yourself. So that's one of the biggest lessons I have learned these past 2 years for myself. And I'm learning it's okay to be who I am. And if anyone has anything to say about it, it does not matter. It's irrelevant, because who I am is not who they are.
I feel like as an artist who is birthing this new moment for yourself, right? The moment of being solo for the current time, the moment of new music, and the moment of unexpected visuals possibly that the world possibly wants to see, the rawness of that, right? Like I know I get nervous, you know, when I go speak in front of an audience where I'm on air, because I get judged on my intellect, right? Because there is this bar that's set of me of like this intersectionality guy who can do deep dives, all the things. And so I feel like, damn, today I'm going to be judged on if I'm smart, right? Like who wants to be judged like that, right? And so I'm wondering for you in this rawness that you're in, do you feel like do you have to reconcile being defensive while at the same time just being yourself and blocking out that noise due to all the rawness?
Well, think about that. How you explained how you're feeling. You're a Black man. So everything that you're feeling, I'm feeling times two, because I'm a Black woman. And a lot of times it is difficult, but underestimation is the best. It is the best feeling when you can prove someone wrong. And I think anyone, no matter what their profession is, whether they're doing what you do, what I do, if they work at the grocery store, all of our challenges are the same. We constantly have to prove ourselves. So it really doesn't matter what the profession is. We all go through that. And I think as long as we keep our heads held up high and don't let what anyone's saying outside of us tell us, we'll kind of be okay.
Yeah. I'm enjoying this conversation, honestly. I feel like I'm just talking to an old friend. I'm like, I feel like I'm at brunch right now, catching up with a buddy of mine talking about this. What I'm most shocked about, Chloe, is the response of you, the response of your art, right? And obviously not everyone is going to be open. No one's not going to love everything you do. They're going to love everything you do. What I do, if someone works for a corporation, you know, an IT department, no one's ever going to be happy and satisfied.
Yeah.
But the amount I feel of visceral reaction towards you and how you have embraced your body during this time period for me has been shocking. Because of the fact of, I think about like the feminist movement in particular within the art space, right? I think about women like Madonna and Janet, right? You know, I think about Grace Jones, right? I think about all these dynamic Black women. Even Tina Turner had the sexuality to her that she embraced. My favorite film, Donna Summers, my favorite film by Spike Lee is She's Gotta Have It, because for the first time we saw a Black woman being able to openly express her sexuality and her sexual freedom, right? And so I thought we dealt with all of those things, you know, prior to, and then here we are in this age of identity, and there's definitions and terms and the freedom of all the things, but yet people still feel uncomfortability with how you are owning your sexuality and your body. And I gotta be honest, that shocked me a little bit. I'm just wondering, how did that feel for you? Were you shocked, you know, by that?
Well, take me out of the equation. It's always shocking when a Black woman is confident in the skin that she's in and isn't afraid to show it. So all of those women that you named, even though that was years ago, that will continue to happen even way after me, because the world isn't comfortable with that. And I think as long as women who have inspired me and my peers continue to break down those walls and those barriers and say, screw what anyone else has to think, I will love who I am and I will be proud about it and speak up loudly about it, then no one can really hold us back.
Damn, Chloe. I love your ability to separate yourself from, not separate yourself, to take yourself out of it as Chloe and then insert yourself as a Black woman representing Black women across the board with that. So now with that being said, do you feel like you're part of a movement, or do you feel like the act of you alone is a rebellious act?
Honestly, at the beginning, and I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't think being me was a movement. I was just being myself. And when I realized, okay, this is bigger than me, is when beautiful women of all ages, all sizes, all shapes will say to me, whether it's to my face or even online, how I have inspired them to love their bodies. And I think it's more than me. If you think about it, there's so many women who's doing the same thing and saying the same thing that I'm saying, but no one seems to want to hear it. And it's like, as long as women, we know our power and our strength, we will continue to rule the world. So it's crazy to think that what I'm doing is a part of a movement because I'm just being myself, but that hearing that is so empowering. And me, what I'm doing, being myself isn't a rebellious act, possibly, maybe, because kind of tearing down the world's and society's norms, maybe that is a rebellious act. So who knows, but it wasn't intentionally. Just, if being yourself is being a rebel, then yeah.
You know where I got that from, Chloe? I got to be honest with you. It's not something that I came up with. I mean, obviously, the act of rebellion is a thing that's out there, the narrative. But what's been making me think about that a lot lately was I interviewed Robert Battle from Alvin Ailey. And so we were just talking about how art imitates life, life imitates art. And I was asking him, does he feel the pressure to have to choreograph and set pieces and work around the ideas of social justice, because they had one dance movement that was a part of that. And he literally said having Black bodies on stage is a rebellious act unto itself. Right. And then I was talking to Khalees recently, and so she was talking about
I love Khalees.
Same here. And so we were talking to her, I talked a lot with her really about agriculture and her farming. And she literally said that just her being a Black woman farmer is a rebellious act unto itself. And so I've just been in this space of just how Black people are sometimes showing up as our authentic self in these spaces is seen as just an act of rebellion unto itself. And so that's why I was asking you, because Chloe, I'm not even gassing you up, audience. And I talk to a lot of different types of people and subject matter experts around a multitude of things. The authenticity of you and how you speak for all women as a whole, no matter how much I've made it unintentionally about you, because I'm talking to you, I'm looking at you, I want to make sure it's about Chloe, but every time you keep bringing it up into the larger demographic, that means it's real for you. To me, that means it signals that it's real, it's authentic, you're not on talking points, there is no one feeding you these things, right? And I even see you thinking about these questions that I'm asking you. It's almost I'm looking at you process the question in your head as you're going, right? And that's when I know it's good and authentic. And that's kind of what made me lead me down that path of asking about movements, right? And audience, she isn't here for any of this, but
I'm glad you did.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you, Chloe. Let's move on from movement and identity and feminism. But I just wanted to me, that's what you represent. Like and I guess I'm just so shocked at the reaction of you in this day of feminism and thinking about all the great Black women artists who came before you, who paved the way for all this to happen. I'm like, damn, we are still here. Like, it's surreal to me.
Yeah, that's so true.
Just know you have a fan in me, and I'm loving you.
Thank you.
Literally every time you go to perform, I'm almost holding my breath for you, not because I'm nervous for you, right? I know nerves is part of everything everyone does. I know you're nervous too as well, but like, it's just, I wish somebody would come at her. You know what I mean? It's like a big brother protectivism of you to come to that. Talk to us about your music right now. I have to at least talk about music with you. How are you thinking about your album and your song selections? Your mind to me is just a wonder right now. And as I talk to you, so I'm just wondering, like, how are you thinking about the edit? Right, in terms of what thematics that you want this album to speak to. Ooh. Themes, not thematics.
Yeah, themes. So when I first started creating this album, I just knew it was going to be an album about heartbreak in all forms and all shapes, and because that was the place I was in. Everything I was creating was very moody and very bit sad. And now, as I've evolved and the music I've been creating has, as I listen to the demos and the lyrics and even the production, I am happy and I am learning to trust myself and learning that it's okay to feel myself and have confidence and not be scared to admit that I love who I am. And, you know, I love how vulnerable it all is, whether I'm talking my shit or whether I'm singing about something really sad. I'm being honest. And I can't wait for people to hear it whenever it's ready, because they'll get me completely. Chloe 360. You know, people just see one side of me. Even Have Mercy, I love it so much. That's the song I wanted to come out first, and I love it. But that song's just the tip of the iceberg. Like, people don't really, I don't think if someone was like, oh, this will be the next song that I hear from Chloe, I don't think they'd be able to pinpoint it. And I never want to be predictable, ever. And I'm such a huge fan and lover of music that it's not right and it's not fair to just do one sound.
Yo, Chloe, you're blowing me away, and I'm gonna let you go. You are speaking my language, right? People always try to put me in a box, but it confuses them when I make a pivot to when I make the next move, right? And like, you can't contain me. And I love the fact for you. I truly believe now, and don't even give me any more insight to the album. I feel like this is going to be an album that is going to be a deconstruction of first albums, and I think you're going to have range, and I think you're going to have freedom. Right. And I think you're going to express yourself however you want to express yourself. And it's like, the people are going to get what they're going to get. But most importantly, it's going to be honest and authentic to you. And that's what's going to make it beautiful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Chloe Bailey, thank you for stopping by. Oh, wait, real quickly, do you know when the album's coming out? Do we have a date yet? If not, all good. I just want to make sure we publicize it. Okay, all good. Yeah. Just want to make sure we publicize it. Chloe, thank you so much for talking about the Mike Muse Show. I hope you will come back by throughout your career and have a conversation with me. It's been amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a blessed day. Bye.
All right, you too. Bye, Chloe. Bye. Take care.